Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today is a weird coincidence of events because I wanted to film a video about how difficult it is to take time off your corporate job, especially if you're in a big four consulting firm like I am, and I am also sick today, so I took time off work. So this is kind of perfect overlap of things, and I think I'm gonna talk a bit, tell you how the process works about taking time off, what you need to do to get it, and how difficult it is with your manager and agreeing that you're not going to work a particular day. And I am also going to vlog a little bit and just show you what I'm doing on this day off that I'm having today. So yeah, let's get going. And the first thing in the agenda is Lemsip, which, if you don't know, is probably something that every country has an equivalent of. It's a mixture of paracetamol and a bunch of other stuff that's supposed to relieve the symptoms of a cold. So I'm having that now, and you can have, I think, a few a day. So that's my plan. It is in a cappuccino mug, and I am mixing it with a fork. So you'll just have to deal with that. Anyway, if you're new here, to give you some brief context, my name is Anastasia, I'm 25 years old, I live in London, and about 7-8 months ago now, I started in a big four firm in consulting. So I'm an analyst, and the analyst program is 2 years, so I'm very much new to the firm. It's been interesting, it's been a very varied experience as well, depending on what you're working on and what project you're part of, what team, what manager is managing you. And before I started personally, I was wondering about how difficult it's going to be to take time off, because consulting is known to be quite an intense job. You tend to overwork. Ignore me slowly delayering because it's very hot from the Lemsip, which is my lifesaver at the moment. Anyway, the process today for me, for example, was I woke up at my usual time that I would wake up around 7 a.m. and then I realized that I'm not feeling well. I think I have a cold or beginning of a cold and have a headache, and so I really wasn't feeling okay enough to go into work, and I think it would be best for me and also for me to recover as quickly as possible that I take today off to just kind of relax and rest and do all the lemsipping that I can do. If you watched some of my previous videos, you would know that I had a very long bench time. Now I'm on a client project for a few weeks, about a month, and I do have a consistent team that I now work with, as opposed to being across 5 or 6 different teams working on different stuff. So today, when I realized that I'm ill, my process was to log into Teams, let my team know, and I just messaged in the team chat saying that sadly I'm not feeling well, I think I need to take the day off. So if anything urgent, do let me know, but I think I should take it easy and hopefully be back soon. Everyone is usually very supportive in my experience. That being said, I am part of human capital within consulting, and from what I've heard from other people and just my own experience with different people as well, human capital do tend to be a nice bunch, which I feel very lucky about. I think it would be quite ironic if they weren't, because it's all about people and, you know, human-centered stuff. Obviously, hopefully that's across the firm. So everyone just said, yeah, sure, take time off, blah, blah, blah. Hope you get better soon. That's kind of it. I did also have to reschedule my meetings that I had today, so I either pushed them towards the end of the week or next week, or I just cancel them and then I'll reschedule them at another time. So for me, so far, it's been surprisingly easy. Hello, this is Anastasia from a few hours later, and I'm editing the video as we speak. And I realized that I didn't really mention the fact that I think as an analyst, you're in a very privileged position that not a lot of responsibility is usually on you, and you tend to be the supporting person in a team. So I think when it comes to taking time off, obviously if you're more senior, it is going to be a bit more difficult to delegate the stuff that you were supposed to be doing to other people, because there might not necessarily be someone who is, say, also a senior manager in the team. Everyone else might be more junior, or you might be holding the pen on something that is an important piece of work within your project. So I think it does very much depend on what you're doing. But for me, it has been fairly easy, I think, because I have mostly been in junior roles and supporting roles. So yeah, that's just another caveat to mention. Back to the video. And just a quick side note, if you are not familiar with the systems and the weird quirks of consulting, especially in big four firms, you tend to code your time against the charge code so that the firm can charge the client correctly. So my week would have been coded as working full-time on this client project. Because I'm taking time off, I will eventually go back in and code this day as time off sick. And obviously the client will not be charged for that because I wasn't working for them. But that's kind of everything you need to do. There's not much more to it. It's been very easy in my experience so far. I think generally consulting as an industry has changed to the better, with mental health and well-being being one of the big topics after the pandemic. So people tend to be way more understanding of, you know, the need for rest if you're not well and stuff like that. Anyway, I'll share some more with you later, but for now I decided that it's one of those calls where you are kind of unwell but you also want some fresh air, so I decided to go and walk by myself just to a park nearby, and I'm rocking this look, which is jeans and my pajama top. On average, I'm a normal human, and I'm obviously gonna layer a lot of layers, although it's quite warm. I think it's about 18 degrees, which is very warm for end of October in London. Ready? Let's go! Before I go, very random and funny, at least to me, side note is, if you don't know, I'm from Russia, so I come from a very different culture to the UK, and for us, we take being ill so much more seriously, and we literally just throw meds at the person who's ill. So even if you have like a slight cough, you will be like taking some sort of meds to recover quickly. Whereas in the UK, literally anything happens to you, like you break a leg, you're on the verge of death, and the GP is probably going to tell you to take some paracetamol and then come back to them in about a month if it doesn't go away by itself. So for me, I'm trying to take the home approach, at least for now, and just try and take some things that I've brought with me. And I have a few things that I like, I don't know, immunity supporting for when you're getting a cold, or stuff for the throat when you're getting a cold, so it kind of gets rid of bacteria and stuff like that. So I'm doing all of that, and it's just so funny to think that there is such a huge contrast in how people approach being ill. Here is such a, like, I don't know, I'll probably just go if you have some water and drink tea and take paracetamol, whatever it is. So yeah, fascinating cultural stuff. I've had a little reshuffle like the UK government, and I'm going in a t-shirt and a scarf, which is a weird combo, but I think it's way too warm for the sweater yet, but I'm taking it with me. So yeah, legit details you do not need. Let's go. We're back, and it was very nice. I caught a bit of sun, which was lovely. Sat in the sun absorbing on a bench, and obviously it goes without saying, I went alone. I'm not trying to spread my cold to anyone else, so I was very far from people, really. It was pretty quiet for a working day. But yeah, I think it was needed. Fresh air was nice, and it's pretty warm, so not a bad day to get out. I'm obviously a bit ill, so I'm not gonna go on any marathons or hiking trips anytime soon, but for now I'm gonna top up my Lemsip and get on with some personal admin stuff that I've been putting off for a while. So a couple of last things that I wanted to mention in relation to this topic of taking time off, being unwell, and how that works in a big four firm is, one thing is with mental health, I feel like it's a bit trickier across the board, not just in a big four, not just in a corporate firm, but generally it's a slightly more taboo topic. I personally had to take half a day off a few weeks ago for mental health reasons. And it's tricky to know when to make that call, because I think when you're physically ill, it's a bit more straightforward. You kind of know that, well, you know, I have a huge headache, I have a migraine, I don't know, my nose is completely running. I probably need to just stay home and chill for a bit. Whereas with mental health, I think that line is even more blurry. Now I've had the experience of kind of both. One for mental health reasons, today it's for physical health reasons, and in my experience so far, it's been fairly easy. I think it's more the thing of remembering that you deserve the time off, and if you need it, then you should just take it. Nothing's going to fall apart and crash and burn because you took a day or a few days or a few weeks off your corporate job. Those firms are huge, and I think that's one of the big advantages that I found switching from nonprofit world, where I was before. I was in a tiny nonprofit, a team of about maybe 10 people, and also working as a freelancer and being self-employed. The huge advantage of being in a big firm like this is that you're very, very replaceable, almost to an uncomfortable extent. You could literally just come and go and no one would notice because they would just hand over your things to someone else. And as kind of weird and depressing as it sounds, it's nice when you need to take time for yourself. I think usually, especially in consulting, there is such a culture of high turnover of people. You switch projects every few months typically, and people are used to having new members of the team and people moving on to other things, and it's very common to just see that kind of turnaround. I think way more so than in other jobs, even in other corporate jobs. So I quite honestly think you should use that to your advantage, and it's not even anything extra you're taking. It's literally just time off for yourself when you need it. But I think you should just not feel guilty about it and let everyone know that you need to let know and take the time that you need, whether it's for mental health, whether it's for physical health. Ultimately, you will work better long term if you take it off now and properly recover, as opposed to just being at a bare minimum functioning level for a while. Final point that I wanted to touch on is also based on personal experience, and kind of contradicting what I said about human capital being the nice bunch. I've actually had an experience of a manager not being very receptive to me saying that, okay, I'm going to take the time off. And that just goes to show that everything depends on what your project is like, what your manager is like, and you should be very strict with your boundaries and how you want to separate that for yourself. Because for me, there was one situation, and it was some time ago now, where I said that I am unwell, I think I need to take the time off and take it easy. I think I had some sort of flu. But I said that, and my team was very supportive, and the manager was very supportive on the team's chat, and she was like, yep, perfect, no worries at all, like take the time. And then in about 20 minutes, she sends me something to do, and I'm like, are you for real? We did just talk about this. And I think in situations like that, it just all comes back to you and how you want to maintain the boundaries, because I think you fully deserve to take the time off when you need it. But whether other people have the exact same way they would approach it is a whole other story, because I think this person, for example, I know from seeing how she would take time off that that's her style, and even when she's off, she would be kind of logging in here and there, doing something. So it's not necessarily the question of, oh my god, like why are they being so, I don't know, pressuring. It might just be that they have a different way of approaching. If that's not you, if that's not your style, and I think that's not a healthy way of doing things, just make sure to separate and log off. You have the full right, I think, if you're genuinely ill, to just put your automatic replies on and just not reply until you're back. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that was helpful, entertaining, or anything else, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.